Hey guys! So, Endgame is coming out this week, and it's pretty safe to say that it's going to be a very big moment in cinematic history. I think this might be the movie that might break Avatar's record as being the highest grossing film of all time. Once considered an extension of science fiction or fantasy, superhero movies have come a long way in film history and are now an established genre. According to the Guinness World Records, the first superhero comic was The Phantom, which debuted in 1936, later followed by Superman in 1938. But the first time a superhero was shown on the big screen was in 1941 with the 12-chapter serial Adventures of Captain Marvel. No, not that Captain Marvel, that Captain Marvel. Yes, Shazam's real name is actually Captain Marvel, and there was a whole dispute about it, and there was a big old lawsuit, and yeah. Based on a Fawcett Comics hero who later became part of DC Comics, the serial told the story of a young man named Billy Batson who transforms into a godlike good guy and battles a supervillain called the Scorpion. This was the first episodic story to use cliffhangers, an origin story, a secret identity, and an arch-nemesis, establishing the foundation for the genre. Next came a 15-chapter Batman serial in 1943, The Phantom also in 1943, and then the first Marvel comic adaptation, Captain America, in 1944. In the 1950s and 60s, superheroes were hitting the small screen, most notably Adventures of Superman, starring George Reeves, and Batman, starring Adam West. For the latter, the show was immensely popular, lasting 3 seasons and producing 1 feature-length film. However, the early superhero movies were full of cheesy lines and over-the-top fight sequences. Throughout the 1970s, there were many television adaptations of comic book superheroes, including Wonder Woman, The Amazing Spider-Man, and Shazam. It wasn't until a decade after Batman, when Superman came out in 1978, that audiences started to take superhero movies seriously. Christopher Reeve gave an earnest and charismatic performance as Superman, and was just the right amount of geeky charm for Clark Kent. Accompanied by the now iconic John Williams score, and special effects that had finally reached a level where they could realistically depict superhero powers of the comic book, it became the 6th highest grossing film of all time when it was released, and it paved the way for other Superman movies. The next non-Superman comic book movie to be theatrically released was Tim Burton's Batman in 1989, which was the first superhero movie to win an Oscar. Tim Burton's adaptation of The Caped Crusader was darker and grittier, integrated with Burton's famous Gothic style. The next Batman sequels, however, reverted back to the genre's over-the-top campiness from the 1960s. Other 1990s comic book adaptations include Fantastic Four in 1994 and Blade in 1998. In the new millennium, there was an ambush of comic book movies, starting with Bryan Singer's X-Men. Rather than depicting people who saved the day, X-Men was more of a character study of various marginalized people who are oppressed because of their special abilities. Singer portrayed the X-Men as a metaphor for society's persecution of outsiders. The direction of superhero movies in the 2000s was more realistic, but still had its comedic moments, and as the decade went on, they became darker and even somber. The pinnacle of this was Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. The second film in the series, The Dark Knight, was the first comic book movie to win an Oscar for acting for Heath Ledger's psychologically disturbing performance as the iconic Joker. It is now, in the 2010s, that superhero movies are at its peak, due to the immense popularity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Starting with Iron Man in 2008, Marvel has produced 21 films starring various superheroes, including standalone films, sequels, and epic crossovers. With each of those movies earning at least $250 million at the box office, it seems that Marvel comic adaptations are the most profitable superhero movies of all time, and that's even before the last movie of this phase, Endgame, has hit theaters. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, why don't you hit that thumbs up button? That would be awesome. And if you have any comments or questions or a film-related topic that you want me to cover, please let me know down below. And if you really like my content and you want to see more, please subscribe. Okay guys, I will see y'all for... Wait. I don't feel so good. Wait a minute.